could all this mean? Oh, God! Oh, Dexxy, thank goodness it's you. But why do you have your face painted? Oh, is it Thunder Rosa Face Paint Friday? I don't know to watch. I totally forgot. Hey, do you hear that music too? Alright, well come with me. Let's go check this out. Come on, Dexxy. I think it's coming from Comer Alexa's room. Follow me. Dexxy, it's totes coming from in here. We better check it out.
Mayor Erin.
Hey, Scarlet the Witch. Why is everyone sneaking up on me? But hey, I'm glad you're here. We gotta go in there and check on Comer Alexa. Maybe she's awake.
We must enter the room apprehensively. I feel a strong presence of Trishzuzu.
Oh, listen. I'm sure it's just Secretary Stasé or Queen Diva Marie just listening to some really old, creepy music. There's nothing to be apprehensive of. Let's just go check. Okay. Come on in, y'all. Nothing to be afraid of. Just a stupid speaker. Comer Alexa?
Mayor Erin, be careful. We mustn't assume it's actually Comer Alexa. We need to be sure it isn't Trishzuzu using her body.
Stop worrying so much. I know my Comer Alexa when I see her. Not gonna lie, Scarlet the Witch, she looks a wee bit different than I remember. Yeah, this is normal. It's just Comer Alexa doing some cheeky, mucusy little games with me. This is nothing beyond the norm. Oh my God, it's in my mouth.
Dexxy, grab her.
Hey, calm down. Comer Alexa, are you in there?
Live, laugh, die. Live, laugh, die. Live, laugh, die.
Mayor Erin, it's her. It's Trishzuzu. She's possessing Comer Alexa's body.
What do we do?
Find a cross.
Whoa!
Live, laugh, die!
Where in the F-balls am I gonna find a cross? Leave Comer Alexa's body at once. I command you. Dexxy, move! I got something for you. Some crosses. Nikki crosses.
Keep going, Mayor Erin.
Leave her body now! Leave Comer Alexa's body now! Oh. Ooh.
Good work, Mayor.
Did it work? I think it worked!
I think it did work, but only temporarily.
Oh, hold up. Are you telling me that the crosses only worked temporarily? What do we do to make sure that Trishzuzu doesn't come back to Comer Alexa's body?
We must travel to the further, and we must travel soon.
Okay then, I guess that's our next step, but until then, how about we tie her up? Not in the way you're thinking. or than I'm thinking. I'm just going to go review a figure. You get what I'm saying, right? Like demon... Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. And welcome to JILL-O-WEEN 4 Part 5. I hope you enjoyed the intro, but more importantly, I hope we can find a way to save Comair Alexa, because that was terrifying, right? Extremely terrifying. But I am here to review Elite Series 105 Iyo Sky. And for a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Now, this Elite Series 105 Iyo Sky is very important to me for a number of reasons. Number one, I think she's the best wrestler in the world. She's my favorite wrestler to watch. She's definitely one of my favorite wrestlers all around, but she's just an amazing performer. I'm such a big fan of hers. And number two, her previous Elite Series 79, was the 2020 LumberJillville Figure of the Year. It won the Jilly that year, and it is one of the best women's elites of all time. So this figure has a lot to live up to. But from what I've seen, images online, whatnot, just looking at it out of the package here, it looks awesome. And it actually has a chance of not only living up to those expectations, but actually surpassing them. But we're obviously going to open it up and take a closer look at the figure. We'll compare it to Elite Series 79 and see how it does. But the first thing we're going to do, the very first thing, which I did previously in that Royal Rumble Beth Phoenix Elite review, is I covered the new packaging because it's pretty controversial out there amongst collectors. And if you didn't see that review, you could go back and watch it. Or you can watch today's, because I'm definitely going to take a closer look at this packaging. And yeah, show you the ins and outs, mostly outs about it. But with that being said, let's dive in. Alright, so here it is, the controversial packaging. Now, I did cover this packaging, at least the form factor of it, with that Royal Rumble Elite Beth Phoenix a couple videos ago. But this is a mainline Elite, so this is what the mainline Elites are going to look like, at least for the time being moving forward. I am not a huge fan. I do like to see the entire figure from the front. Now, I understand there's reasons behind cutting down the plastic, but I just think the execution of it is pretty poor. I mean, we have a moonroof on top. We have this little moonroof, and I don't really know the point of that because you can barely see in there. But I wish they would take that plastic on top and just add it to this bubble. Now, I'm not an MOC collector. I do have quite a bit of MOC figures, but I like to open them up, display them loose, and obviously review them for y'all. So this lack of a front bubble window, I guess we'll call it, it doesn't bother me too bad, but I can see why it would bother a lot of MOC collectors, especially ones that like to get their figures signed, because there's not a whole lot of room to sign. Now, depending on the superstar and their signature, this might be okay, but it's going to be very close because you don't want that figure covered up. So I'm not a huge fan, to be completely honest with you. Now, besides that lack of plastic on that front window there, as I mentioned, we have this little moonroof on top. Don't really see a point to that. And there are a couple different stylish changes, I guess. We got a little slant up top here. And I do like that it's kind of boxy like it used to be. And I'll show you what I mean when I compare it with the Elite Series 104 Dakota Kai. We have an image of the superstar on the front. We have Iyo Sky's name, the series number, big old WWE logo. Like, you can't miss that. Then we have the bubble with the figure there. That image on the side with the series, name on the other side. And on the back, we have a little bio. It says the Genius of the Sky, or the Genius of the Shirai, as I call her. Iyo Sky, Genius of the Shirai. The Genius of the Sky shocked the WWE Universe at SummerSlam 2022 alongside Bayley and Dakota Kai as part of the new Dangerous Faction Damage Control. But this attire isn't from that SummerSlam. I think that's cool to include that because I was at that SummerSlam and I'll never forget that moment, especially with how big of a fan I am of Iyo and Bailey, and I'm in love with Dakota Kai. Wait, what? But that's cool that it explained how Damage Control was formed, but that's by no means what this attire is from. So that kind of bothers me a little bit. But either way, we got the rest of the series there, and then we have our career highlights. So now that we took a close look there, let's throw up Elite Series 104 Dakota Kai. So this was the last mainline Elite released. First, I'm going to say has nothing to do with the packaging. This Dakota needed that women's tag team championship. I mean, it makes me pull my hairs out. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of thinking behind it. Not only is she displayed with the title on the package, but Iyo comes with one. So why wouldn't they give one to Dakota the previous years? But either way, okay. Anyway, what I was talking about, that new packaging being more boxy, which I actually loved when the packages were boxy, is this blue and black theme that they had for a couple years here. It's got a little curve, a little angle on the front, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I really wasn't a huge fan of this Elite style packaging. I think it was okay, but I was a much bigger fan of the basic style packaging with this color scheme. So you can kind of see how they are side by side. I don't know, y'all. I mean, it's all on preference, I guess. I wish we could get this big open window on this package, and then it would be my favorite Elite packaging of all time, because I love the boxy look, and I love the white. I love when they have white like they did a couple years ago on the Elites. I just think it really makes the figure stand out. So, yeah, you can kind of see how they compare to each other here, how they're going to look on the shelf, lined up. So yeah, now that being said, I did open it up in the Royal Rumble review, so make sure to watch that to see how to open it up. You just cut tape and it slides right out, but I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll come back and look at the figure. WWE Elite Series 105 Iyo Sky. This attire is from the December 12th, 2022 edition of Raw from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. On this night, WWE Women's Tag Team Champ Iyo Sky, accompanied by Damage Control, would go on to defeat Candice LeRae in a singles match. Alright, some overall first impressions of this figure. I mean, I'm blown away, honestly, by the attention to detail and the sculpting, and oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get a closer look at the different aspects of this figure that makes it so awesome and unique and show y'all, because it looks fantastic. Now, the one thing, and I shouldn't say this, but the first thing I noticed, actually, when I took it out of the package, is it has the basic ankle articulation, and that, I'm not a fan of that. I hate when they do that on these Women's Elites, when they give them I guess the boot sculpt that has the basic ankle articulation. It can just point down and point up. It can't rock side to side. Oh, I don't like when they do that, because sometimes that adds a little difficulty to posing. But either way, we'll get to that during the articulation segment. But this figure has a lot going on, and wow, y'all, it is amazing. Now, accessories that it comes with. She has two semi-open hands there, and then she comes with her open hands kind of in her pose that she does on her entrance, which is nice. And then she comes with a Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, let's see if it says Women's or if it says Women's, as I pointed out in that Alexa Bliss a couple years ago. It'd help if it wasn't upside down. Okay, it says Women's. We're good. So that's really cool that she comes with this. And I'm glad I ordered multiple, because I'll give one of the titles to that Dakota Kai Elite 104. But yeah, this figure looks fantastic. So with that being said, let's take a closer look at this figure, part by part, piece by piece, and let's take a look at that face sculpt, face scan, and hair sculpt. Alright, so starting off that face and hair. Now, this face sculpt and face scan is fantastic, and it is completely new. Her previous face sculpt and scan that was used on her basic and also that Elite 79, I loved it because it had this real emotion, passionate expression to it, and it was really unique. Let me show you real quick. I just love that. I love that. I love displaying her with her hood and her hand coming up and that face. That's one of my favorite sculpts and scans of all time. But this new one is fantastic. Do I like it better than the old one? I don't think I do, actually, but I do think it's really good. I know it's just kind of a basic look with the smiling face, but I think they do a good job here of capturing her likeness. As far as the hair sculpt goes, I think that's the best part about the head here. And this hair sculpt is obviously completely unique. We have the hair going over her shoulder on the right side, very long. And on the left side, look at this, y'all. We not only have a little strand coming down, but we have sculpted braids on the side. And then we have a mix of red and black in the hair. That is fantastic. This hair sculpt is truly a work of art, and I love that they added the different colors here. And yeah, as far as that face goes, I think the new face sculpt and scan is really good, but I don't know if I prefer it over her previous. But either way, this is excellent. As far as body sculpt and attire goes, body sculpt, 10 out of 10. They did an excellent job with part choices and also giving her a lot of uniquely sculpted parts. I think it looks amazing. The only complaint, and like I said, we'll get to that in articulation, is that she has these single hinged basic articulated ankles. That bothers me. But as far as body sculpt goes, excellent job here. And as far as the attire goes, oh my gosh, this attire is... it's mind-blowing. It is fantastic. I mean, this figure, as far as the attention to the attire, is in comparison to that Kairi Sane Elite. And that Kairi Sane Elite, in my opinion, is the best Elite of all time. So, yeah, this attire looks great. So, moving to that attire, let's start off with the top. And the top is a completely unique sculpted piece here, as you can see. And I don't even know where to start. We have sculpted straps. We have sculpted fur going across. We have sculpted studs painted metallic silver. Even this little belt in the top here is sculpted with a lot of little intricate paint detail with the gold, white, and the black. Now moving around to the back, I mean, even the back design, these straps are sculpted. The paint is very intricate, very detailed. It looks excellent. I mean, my goodness. Now looking at the wrist, she has these little wrist guards, these little sleeves that are removable, and they have a little silver paint on them, and then a little orange, I think that's orange, I'm colorblind, a little orange detail there. The hands actually have a sculpted ridge to them there, and you can see intricate paint of the white and the orangish yellow and the black. Now moving on down to her bottoms here, we have this super unique, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I was at a loss of words there because this is just fantastic. It's like the sculpted piece, and I guess it can be removable. I don't think it has, okay, so it's not meant to be removable, but you could definitely remove it if you heat it up and stretch it, or if you find a way to get it over the top somehow. Anyway, so this part is movable, and it's meant to stay on because it really does bring the attire all together. It's this rubber piece, and it has a gold belt sculpted there with silver details, black straps, little silver buckles even painted, and then obviously the feathers of the fur that is sculpted going around. And then we even have this little black and gold piece of cloth that's sculpted coming down the side. On the side of the legs, even beyond that, if we lift it up, oh, those are Kairi Sane's bottoms, y'all. Those are Kairi Sane's bottoms that were actually also used on Mandy Rose. So, like I said, this isn't meant to be removable, so you're not supposed to see that probably. But either way, if we pretend we didn't see that sculpted belt midsection, we have intricately painted laces going up the sides, and actually, wow, they are sculpted laces, y'all. I thought they were just painted on, but these laces are actually sculpted. The ridge of the tights are also sculpted, and you can see a little gold arch there. The legs have black painted on around the thigh there with some crosses. We have some silver details. We have these black knee pads with that design there, and then we have the black kick pad boots. And unfortunately, the kick pad boots on the shorter in stature superstars tend to have that basic ankle articulation, but I'll get over that. I'll get over it. I really will. So yeah, as far as the attire goes and the body sculpt, I mean, it's a 10 out of 10. It is fantastic. It's amazing. I can't say enough good about it. I absolutely love this piece here. They could have been lazy and just sculpted it on or gone away with it, but I'm so glad that they added it because it is so cool, and this figure looks fantastic displayed. Wow. So now it is time for the battle. On the left, we have Elite Series 79, Iyo Sky, Genius of the Sky. And on the right, we have Elite Series 105, Iyo Sky, a Genius of the Shirai. And we're going to kind of compare and contrast and see which Elite is better. And you can make that call at home. I'll give my opinion, but obviously I just want to put these two next to each other so you can see how they stack up to each other. Because honestly, this Elite Series 79, not only was it Figure of the Year in 2020 for my channel, but it is one of my favorite Elites, if not my favorite of all time. I just love this figure so much. This is that NXT era Iyo, and I love that face sculpt and scan as I showed you earlier. It's got that real passionate expression, and the coolest thing about this figure is obviously this jacket accessory. It's like this shiny, fake leathery type material and a big furry hood. And you can pose this figure pulling the hood back, doing her entrance pose, and it's beautiful. I mean, it looks amazing. I can't say enough good about that. But even when we take this jacket off, which is very easy to do because it is a soft goods jacket, obviously, as I struggled to do it. That's good. That's good, Aaron. Good footage. Good footage. Then we could see that the attire underneath is actually really, really detailed. Now, a problem that a lot of people had is this midsection piece was backwards on a lot of people's. And, okay, I think we're good. But it came backwards on a lot of people, so that's something to keep in mind. And what I mean by that is it was meant to be like, yeah, I'm not going to break it. But anyway, so yeah, this attire is really, really cool. We have metallic silver, black, and that neon green. I mean, I just think that's really neat there. And obviously the attire on today's figure stands out a lot more. And I'd say the attire is definitely more detailed, and it is better on today's Elite Series 105. Now, which one is the best Iyo figure? I still think I prefer Elite Series 79. And I really hate to say that because this new Elite 105 is fantastic. It's amazing. But this is just an iconic era of Iyo. And on top of that, having that jacket accessory puts this figure over the top as truly one of the best figures to display out there. Now, don't get me wrong, Elite 105 is amazing, but I think I prefer Elite 79, but as far as the overall quality of the figures, I'd say they're tied because they are both fantastic figures. So hopefully seeing them side by side, comparing them, you could kind of make a call for yourself as to which one you like if you want to add an Iyo to your collection. So now let's check out the articulation here. So right away with the head, we have pretty good movement to the left, pretty good movement to the right, but not a whole lot of circular motion you can do with the head there. The shoulders on a ball joint can go in all different directions there. We have the up arm swivel. We have for the first time double jointed elbows, which is really, really cool. Very nice. Glad that we have that on an Iyo figure. We have the wrist, which can rotate around. It can also flex and extend. We have that upper torso swivel, can go in all different directions. Really good movement there. We have a waist swivel. We have a hip on a ball joint, can move in all different directions. We have an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. We have an upper boot swivel, and then as I mentioned, unfortunately, we do have that basic articulation at the ankle where it can just plantar flex and dorsiflex. There's no rocking side to side, and we do see that quite a bit on the shorter superstars that are putting kick pads in the Elite line, so that's a little unfortunate, but as far as articulation goes, really, really good. All right, so I just wanted to put my favorite tag team out there. We got Damage Control. We got Dakota Kai from Elite Series 104 on the left, and on the right, we have Iyo Sky from Elite Series 105. I did have an extra Women's Tag Team Championship, so I put it with Dakota, and these two look great together. But I am going to say something, and I don't cover this much on the channel because as far as scale goes, I think Mattel has been off for years. All the other figure lines are off. AEW Jazzwares, all the independent companies. I mean, figure scale is all over the place. It's not something I really put under a microscope, but when you have a tag team like this, it does kind of bother me that Iyo is as tall as Dakota. Because if we stand them up straight, okay, Dakota's a little bit taller, but Dakota Kai is 5'6". That's how she's listed. Iyo is listed at 5'1". So these two are almost eye to eye, and that's not accurate, right? So I feel like the Iyo, maybe the part should have been shrunken down a little bit to make her a little shorter. So yeah, that kind of bothers me there. I mean, they look cool together, but I think Iyo is a little too tall. Now, Elite 103 Liv Morgan. Liv's billed at 5'3", so she's, what, 2 inches taller than Iyo, and when you put her next to Iyo, Iyo is actually a little taller. So once again, the scale is completely messed up, in my opinion. So I really wanted to show you Damage Control together. Now, I do think it's weird that we did get these two before we got the leader, Bailey. I don't understand. It looks like we're getting an Elite, oh, what is it, Elite Series 109 maybe? Like way down the road we're getting a Damage Control Bailey, but I feel like she's long overdue. Hopefully we get an Ultimate But yeah, I think it's a little confusing. We did not get a Damage Control Bailey first and then got these two. But I am glad to have an Iyo to add to Dakota and hopefully a Bailey in the near future. And yeah, the scale thing does kind of bother me a little bit. But it's not something I really take points off the figure because, like I said, all figure companies right now, the scale is all over the place. So overall, I give WWE Elite Series 105 Iyo Sky an overall score of a perfect 10 out of 10. And in my opinion, this figure is the frontrunner for the Women's Wrestling Figure of the Year for the 2023 Jillies Award Show. There's just so much to love about this figure. Now, I know I griped a little bit about the ankle joint, but that really doesn't affect the quality of this figure. The attention to detail that they put into this figure is amazing. It's astounding. And I wish they would put this attention into detail into all the women's wrestling figures that they make, because this figure shows that when they do it right, they can make one amazing figure. So my recommendation is you don't wait for this to hit stores. You go to ringsidecollectibles.com right now. Use coupon code LJV to save 10% at checkout and order at least one of these figures. You won't regret it. This figure is beautiful. It's amazing. And I think it really does Iyo justice. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. And as I just mentioned, make sure to head on over to ringsidecollectibles.com and use coupon code LJV at checkout to save 10% on your next order of women's wrestling figures. Now, I appreciate y'all watching, and I hope you love JILL-O-WEEN as much as me. Now, there's still half of October left. So there's a lot of story to be told, a lot that can happen. So stay tuned. I'm sure there's going to be some crazy happenings here in LumberJillville. And hopefully we can save Comer Alexa, or we can defeat that demon Trishzuzu. Now that being said, I appreciate you watching and have a great night, y'all.